Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing. Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 211 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. So I hope you're enjoying your coffee on your drive, or maybe you're just driving, or whatever you're doing while we chat. I'm glad we're able to spend this time together, even if it's just under 10 minutes. So I have a question, as I most often do. How many of you ever feel anxious? Oh, okay, is that even a question? I don't know anyone personally who doesn't get anxious at least once in a while. So I woke up the other day with this blanket of anxiousness. And fortunately, my morning routine is such a habit that I automatically do it, even when I don't feel like it. So I went ahead and meditated, and then I journaled, and then I did my thought download. Well, I realized quickly from my journal and my thought download what was making me anxious. So we were leaving for Belize the following day, and my brain was giving me all of these negative thoughts because we have to test negative 24 hours prior to leaving to go to get to go. I mean, we plan this trip a year in advance always. And one little pink line could be the difference between being on our annual sailing trip with people we love or not going at all. And then we still have to test negative to come home. And what if we don't? And there are 8 of us that go every year. And what if one of the group gets sick? And what if this? Or what if this happens? What if that happens? My thought download was so heavy, it would have sunk a ship. Of course, I'm feeling anxious with all of that hanging around. So I let myself get to the point to where I was even questioning if we should be going at all, which is totally unlike me. I was letting my brain run away with all the things that I was worried about that could happen. But then my training kicked in, and I told myself to ask better questions. Well, the first question that popped up wasn't so great because it was, why am I feeling so anxious today? Well, that question compounds the anxiety because now I'm back to listing all of my reasons for my anxiety. So I find a better question that will give me better answers. I came up with, what can I do to be less anxious today? Yeah, that felt better. Now, I'm thinking about the things that, or the fact that I'm okay, I'm safe, and the universe is always working in my favor. And I also remind myself that something like 95% of our fears never, even more than that actually, of our fears never come to fruition. And I have proof to back that up if I think about some of the fears I've had in the past. Then I also ask myself, what is good right now? And once I started that list, those answers flowed from me so easily. I realized I was creating my own anxiety. None of the things I was worrying about were currently happening, and most of them would never happen, as you probably are aware of in your own life. And I completely changed my state by doing that. It's a really good practice. When we control more about our experience than we think. If I kept on the trajectory I was on, I would have been a ball of anxiety the entire day. I would have got nothing done. If I had started my day by, instead of my good habits, if I had started it by going on to social media, well, we all know the joy that that brings, right? Now, on top of anxiety, I can add frustration and the feeling of not being good enough or not far enough along. Maybe I'm comparing myself. So instead of learning about all the new things out there that I could be more anxious about, I took control of my day. I took control by acknowledging the role that my thoughts were playing in my anxiety and also by limiting what I was allowing in. And this works with most things. Maybe you wake up and you feel anger. Continuing to think the same thoughts that got you angry, that's only going to keep you there. And a lot of times we say, well, it's true, so I have to think about it, and that's just how it is. Well, it is true that we need to work out our feelings. It's important that we don't avoid, but it's also important to not make it worse than it is. And in fact, work to see if you can somehow make it better. Studies show that people who are optimistic are often healthier as they get older than those that are not optimistic. The studies also show that if it's not in your innate nature to be optimistic, there are things you can do to change that too. Happy, successful people know this. I mean, they wake up feeling a way too. I mean, maybe they wake up feeling bad, but they don't stay there. They don't compound it. Unless, of course, you're in a really good place, then by all means, we want to compound that. And I'm not talking about like diagnosed depression. That you have to work through with your doctor. I'm talking about self induced negative feelings, and most of them are, if we're being honest. And when people say we create our own reality, it's true, we do. We see the world through our very own lens. We all have a filter that defines this life. We know this because how many times do we talk to people and each person has a unique perspective on any given topic? It's all in how they're perceiving it. So, how can I perceive it better? Like, how can I make it better? Life is too short for you to be going through it with a chip on your shoulder. The things you do today are going to affect you tomorrow. We all get thrown curveballs. That's life. If I lived life hiding from anxiety and fear, I'd never leave the house. In fact, that's how some people live, especially right now. Safely in their house, never leaving so they can feel safe. And they think we're the crazy ones. Even though I felt anxious, I still managed to do my morning routine because it was already a habit. And that made things so much better because I got to the bottom of why, and then I figured out a way to make it better by guiding my thoughts and asking myself better questions that led to better answers. And a quick update for you. I made it to Belize, and I'm recording this in Belize. You see, most of our worries never come to fruition. My challenge to you today is when you have a negative emotion, get to the bottom of why, and then start asking yourself good questions. Get out in front of it. Don't compound it. Thinking the same thoughts that got you angry or anxious or scared, whatever it is, thinking those same thoughts just compound those feelings. So, how do you make it better? I read once that leaders help people see themselves as better than they are. I believe that you're a leader, and the tools you're learning through all of the good things you're taking in will serve not only you, but everyone around you as well. If you never had negative emotions, you would never have good ones either. Life is a combination of both, and that's normal because you're human. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you in a few days.
Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.